What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Chillin' with Villains podcast. This is episode 95. Oh my God, we're almost there. We're almost at the big
96,
100.
96.
Oh, we're on 96?
Yeah, we're 96.
Oh my God.
He inverted. He's still in the last one.
Yes, we're on 96. Oh man, now I just ruined everything. No, I didn't. You know why? Because
Why?
we have a very, very special guest here with us today.
You're right.
So it doesn't matter what number it is.
Break it down.
All right. Mr. Ayman Hariri from Vero, how are you?
Great to be here. Thanks, guys.
What's going on? And we talked off air about this, but look how better his camera looks compared to the
straight up. This is incredible.
Like,
I'd like to know the focal length. I want to know if it's on manual focus or not. This is incredible.
like, and the sound, and then he has like a battery pack for his laptop, so like it's never gonna die. He can see through walls now. Like it's just.
We're interviewing the first superhero, everyone on Earth.
Ayman, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm doing good. You know, it's a crazy time, but you know, trying to do everything I can to stay focused on the right things.
Right. Before we get started, right, we start talking about the nitty gritty and all that good stuff, what we like to do here, so since you are chilling with villains, you need to have a proper villain name for the rest of the episode. Any villain of your choosing in pop culture.
That you'd like to choose.
My choosing, oh my God.
That you'd like to
Of course, yeah.
choose to represent you. Because we have our own. We already have our own that we've chosen.
Right.
It's just,
So we like, I'm Joker, and then, you know.
Ozymandias here. Mark is represented by Zoom, and Brian by Magneto.
Yeah, and of course we have one member, Real World of Flash, is Reverse Flash Eunice, who isn't here with us today. But so yeah, you get to go ahead, choose a villain. You don't have to choose it now if it's because we know this question takes a lot of.
It's a
time.
really good question. Yeah, I mean, I try funny enough, it's of all the statues that I have, the things that I have, I never actually buy villains.
Oh wow!
It's one of those things. So you're asking me a really good question. I've never ever thought of like which villain would I feel like I just imagine.
So if you need more, of course, if you need more time, we'll give you more time, and that because it's.
Yeah,
You want to take the
more
recess
time.
now?
he's like, oh my God.
I might need the entire episode to think about this one.
We'll just hold up a sign.
That's fine.
He like waves a white flag. He's like, I can't do it.
You know why? Because
I can't
friend
do
of
it.
the show, Karang, has yet to give us a villain name. He never chose a villain name.
Oh yeah, he did.
He did?
Lex.
You sure?
Didn't he
Yeah,
choose
he
Lex
did.
Luthor?
Lex?
I think I dubbed him Lex.
Yeah, he
he got dubbed
Yeah,
Lex.
he was
Hey man,
he
you know
was given
Karan,
the name.
the nice cast.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, he's not so
He's great.
nice.
He's awesome.
He's not that nice.
No, we love him.
Shout
No,
out to
I'm now
Karang.
like going through every episode of every like TV,
TV show,
that
movie.
I've watched, and,
But okay,
so yeah.
so
that's
yeah,
cool.
while you think of that, would you like to just first, give us some more information about yourself, your background, Vero, and kind of just gives us a synopsis of that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, where do you want me to start? Because whenever anybody asks that question, I think
I was born on-
when you left the hospital, like what?
1978, blah blah blah. How far back do you want me to go? It's,
Right. I mean, I guess your first memory. I guess that would be. No, I'm joking. Just sort of take us through.
I was on my back. It was.
Like it was weird. Like
What is this place?
I don't know.
I mean, I grew up in Saudi. I lived here I've now lived here for the majority of my life. I spent a lot of time in the States, just when I was studying, and I lived in France for a bit as well. And I've mostly, like, my background, the stuff that I've always loved has been everything from superheroes, comic books, and that side on a personal side of my life, but also tech has been a big part of my life. I've always enjoyed learning about new technologies and how technologies affect the world, and on an individual basis, and then on a worldwide basis.
Right.
There are lots of people that kind of just they go through it and just consume without thinking about what just happened, and I think we're part of that generation that straddles between no tech, kind of considering,
right.
and this extremely high tech where, I'm fiddling around with lenses and over a Zoom call with all of you guys around the world. And at the time, when I was growing up, it was, I lived through DOS and got excited about DOS.
Wow,
And being able to look up the weather in New York over, on DOS by typing in a command,
Right.
so it's that. So.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Just something so simple like we're doing right now, right? When 100 years, or even what?
I'd say
not even
I'm
100 years ago. What are you talking about?
I know. I'm
20 years ago,
you know what,
25 years ago.
Yeah,
It's
25,
leave.
even 25. Yeah, chill, stay.
No, I mean, like all our guests do this. They always bully me.
No one's bullying you.
I'm
Nah,
joking.
but it's true what Ayman says though. It's incredible that we're even at this point now.
Right. And it's funny because Ayman, we actually have a funny story about how, our thing here with you today transpired. So, I was speaking over with Tom, shout out to him, by the way, awesome dude to speak with. And he was like, okay, yeah, we're all set. Saturday, the 9th, 10 a.m., right? So the last couple of how many podcasts we've done in this studio? We just we renovated a new studio here for us. So it's awesome. We love this place. We always gather here every
Congrats.
Friday. Thank you so much. So we gather here every Friday, and we're like, and you're the first guest we've had in a long time, just
And the
because we
first
were
guest of the
preparing,
year.
and the first guest of the year, just because we were
That's
preparing everything, and we're like, oh, this is gonna be special. We're all gonna be in the studio for it. It's gonna be a blast. Okay, New Year's happens, and a bunch of us just like we test positive for COVID. This happens,
Oh,
etc.
man.
happens. Yeah, so we're just like, oh my God. Like, of course this is gonna happen now. Like when we're approaching our first guest, it's an awesome guest, and this happens. But like you said, the way technology runs, we're able to still do this thing. And two of us are here at the studio today.
Yeah.
But either way, we're making it work. And we obviously didn't want to reschedule with you. We didn't want to cancel with you because we're like, no, we're
I really
gonna have a
appreciate
great
that. I'm glad you
conversation.
guys are okay. How's everybody else doing? Is everybody else doing okay?
Yeah,
You said two of you are here. Are there
Yeah,
others?
no, I'm good. I'm negative. I just wanted to, just play it safe and just stay home.
Yeah.
And do the
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm the one who tested positive.
He's like, I guess since it's in the
Patient
air.
zero right there.
It's me. Surprise. I'm
But-
getting
I'm
better.
glad, I'm glad you're doing okay, Brian.
Thank
So-
you.
But no, like that's the thing. Like you're saying about technology, the fact that we're still able to do this from anywhere around the world, and of course with today's circumstances, like this is the way to go. And I know it wouldn't matter for you anyway. You're like, I would have been on Zoom regardless. So.
Exactly. I'm staying right here.
No, but you're right. I mean, look, this is what technology does best. I think
Yeah.
it brings people together, and that's what's it's a shame with what's going on right now in the world, certainly in the U.S., is that people are also feeling that technology is dividing people, which it's
Yeah.
not meant to do. It doesn't do that by itself. You have to add some pretty gnarly ingredients for it to do that.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. Very specific ingredients.
So
Yeah.
I've always been a believer that humanity's got this amazing way of bringing people together. At the end of the day, you have exceptions, obviously, history has shown, but the fact that we're here, the fact that we're surviving, the fact that there have been few world wars,
Right.
in history,
Yeah,
actually
we're only at 2.
actually is a testament to how we're built, and how we lean, just generally how we
Right.
lean.
Amen. Men are still good.
Yeah. Men are still good, Ayman.
That's it.
They are, man. They are.
But-
And I think how we're all. I mean, we're all superhero fans here, right? I mean,
course.
and people ask me like, what is it? Why are you still into them?
Grow
I
up.
guess maybe it was my attempt to try and come up with a grown-up answer to this question because they're cool, Are you kidding me?
Because they're awesome. Like they can
exactly.
fly. Like
that's what it starts out as, right? When we're
Yeah.
kids, that's the part that we like about these stories. But then as we grow older, for me anyway, what it always was this the stories of people that end up, ordinary people start out as ordinary people,
Mhm.
but they end up with these extraordinary powers, and they choose to do good. They choose to help others. They choose to be selfless and put themselves in harm's way. And I think that's sort of what I think drives everybody to them. They're inspiring stories and characters that we all hope to be like in one form or another. It doesn't have to be, bulletproof or, being able to pick up a car, but
Right.
how do we help each other? And those are the stories that inspire us the most.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that's very versatile about the superhero genre, that you can, what applies to an 8-year-old can apply to a 28-year-old. And especially when it comes to someone like Spider-Man, who is, like, to me, my favorite personally, that something that can resonate, especially with an 8-year-old, in terms of going through, not 8-year-old, because I wouldn't say puberty applies to someone who's 8, but at least to someone in high school, where having all these friends and all these, and your body changing and stuff, and then even as an older person, with great power comes great responsibility. That's something that resonates heavily with me still. That, use whatever gifts you have to do good, and I think that you hit it right on the nose with that. That it's something that almost grows up with us. Those sentiments that we started out with, and I think that's really dope. I think that's really dope about superheroes. That's why I love them forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because and Ayman, like, it's exactly what you say. Because I remember when I first watched one few movies I remember watching where I was just like, as a kid, where I was just like, sort of like, what was that? Was actually Watchmen. By Zach.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
Because I never read the graphic novel. I wasn't really into things like that just yet. But I was just like, at the end of the day, there wasn't, like, the good guys didn't win, and I was just sort of like what? Like, what is going on? Like, this is bad. But then flex while I'm talking about it.
Yeah, here, bro. Just
right,
read it. Just read it.
So basically, no, but then after I watched it, as I got older, like, because when you start getting older, you see the world for what it really is. And when I watched it, like, as I was growing up, I was like, wow, like that hit a different spot. Like, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yep.
And it's crazy how your perspective changes growing up, because you always see, you're innocent when you're young, and you always see the world and people as good. Sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's why Watchmen is so just like, because that's the thing. It's we say that, because we're kids. Like, when are you ever gonna grow up? Like, Watchmen is an adult,
It's an adult
novel.
story,
It's an adult movie.
Yeah.
And that goes, with a lot of the things we see nowadays, because, yeah, of course, there's those things more for entertainment, like the powers, like you said, but the meaning and the message behind each movie and each hero is what we should take with us after we view it.
100%.
So I think that was a great point to bring up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's sort of that, I think it's why personally I enjoy Zach's movies, because he brings that real world element or sort of how superheroes would feel like in the real world today. I mean, what the kinds of issues they'd have to face and deal with on a daily basis. And whether it's Watchmen, whether it's Batman versus Superman, I mean, these are not like, and that's how the world, I think, would react to superheroes today. There would be a lot of
Straight up.
there'd be a lot of doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd view it as like an
we also
story.
don't know. We also can't recognize the miracles that are in front of us until, sometimes it's too late. Sometimes something else has to happen for us to wake up.
That's also true.
It kind of works out in the end, as stories, as we like stories too.
I mean, you didn't have to get so deep on us.
I know,
Like,
right?
I'm just like,
No, sorry, man.
It's great.
it's 10:30 in the morning here for us. Like,
Sorry, man.
I'm
It's
just trying
evening
to.
here. That's my excuse.
Right. Well, since you brought him up, Since you brought Zach
We
up.
never bring
We
Zach up.
never bring Zach up. We never bring Zach up.
Never could.
My fault.
So it's true, right? That it's not true. We've seen it. You've had a cameo in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition.
Streaming on HBO
yeah.
Max.
Streaming on HBO Max before Zack Snyder's Justice League. So tell us about that experience. Like, how did that come about? What was the experience like working with Zach and just being in that sort of atmosphere?
Yeah, there's this app called Charity Buzz, which lets you bid on experiences, meeting people, or in this case, going on set. And I remember seeing
Write
this
it down.
this
Charity
auction.
Buzz.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I mean, it was like, this is unbelievable. I had to look at it maybe 5 or 6 times, read it over and over and over again. Because I was like, there's no way, it's got to be just like win a t-shirt. Okay, what is this?
A free bat.
And I ended up winning the auction. And it was for a walk-on role onto the set. And I remember meeting Zach for the first time, and because I just, I figured might as well. I know nothing about anyone there. Actually, I knew about Clay through John Free, who works with me. John Free's my trainer, and he knew Clay sort of. I believe not in person as well. It was just basically over email or something, because John was part of Jim Jones that trained all of the 300 guys. Henry.
Damn. Flex.
Okay, all
Look at
right.
that.
I know, right?
Jeez, stretch first,
So-
Oh my
dude.
God, I gotta hit the gym.
I was working with John, sort of before that, and then this auction came up, and he knew of Clay, and so we got together on set there. But I that's where I met Clay for the first time, and I had a backpack full of my comic books, and I came on set.
It's like a kid at school,
wasn't my
first day of school.
I know
He's there,
exactly,
like-
but it really just to give you a sense of where I thought I just brought it because look, I'm going on the set of Batman vs Superman.
Right.
I have a bunch of comic books. What am I going to talk about them? Like, at least take some with me.
Yeah.
It feels like it's compatible, but I had no idea how big of a fan Zach was. And how big of a fan everyone on set was. You don't sort of think about, I mean, for me anyway, I'm not saying for everybody, but just for me, I just figure people come in, they learn about a story, a background, and they do a job, and they do the best job that they can. These guys, when I took my comic books out, like pretty much almost the set came to a halt. Like it was that kind of an experience.
Wow.
And for me, as a fan, it was a moment where I'm sort of looking around and going, the lighting guy has shown up and is like taking a moment. Everybody's taking a moment, like everybody. And you go, dude, this is in good hands. This is awesome. Like, this is so great to see and feel that these people, it's not a job. This is beyond a job. It's like, it's a responsibility that they're taking on. And so that was my first experience with Zach. And then afterwards, just seeing everybody on set, how they behaved at 2:30 in the morning, the smiles on people's faces after God knows how long,
Like a
day.
shoot,
I was like, this guy's amazing. And he gets
Yeah,
involved. It isn't like barking orders and like he gets up and does it. Like, this is how he wants it to be. And he inspires people to do it right. He doesn't bark at them to get it right, which is, I mean, it's a style of leadership that I respect, and I try to do the same with anybody that's doing anything for me. And I learned that from my dad. It's like you get more out of people from them being inspired to do the work, not feeling threatened that if they don't do the job right, that they're
Yeah.
going to lose their job. It's,
100%.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, how long does that last? How long does that work?
But that,
You know?
that's like the best feeling ever.
It is.
Doing what you love.
Yeah, and also that
Totally.
my grandmother has always said in Spanish we have a term where she would say hágalo con gana, which means do it with purpose, do it with do it with a sense of responsibility, like you want to do it because you want to do it, not because it's a job, like you said. Like it doesn't, and and we resonate. That's why I think we respect Zach so much, is because we understand his work ethic, and we understand that this is more than just a job. This is passion. This is his way of expressing his art and how he feels about the world, in a sense. And,
Absolutely.
And that's why I think you had such a blast, because you recognize that and immediately you connected. And I guess the rest is history, because you're about to give us more deets. Please continue. I'm sorry.
No, man. I certainly, I don't think what Charity Buzz was offering was what I got. Like, I got way more. I got lifelong friendships, which wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, one goes into experiences like that with some hope or some imagination, but it's wonderful when life actually delivers much more than you could have possibly imagined. And I've become friends with Zach and Deb and their family. Eli is amazing. I met their kids and just the Snyder family, which is way more than just them. It's all of these people who believe in something and work towards something and don't put any ego into it either. And
right.
I got to work out with Zach and the team then. It was quite an experience as well. And then I had my day where it was the scene that I was supposed to be in, the scene in the diner. And that was it. It was supposed to just be that scene.
All right.
And a few months later, I got a call saying, "Hey, we need you back."
Oh, wow.
Reshoots.
It's like, what?
He's like, no,
What do you mean?
actually, we're recasting. Ayman, you're Batman. It's like,
So-
they're like, we
Yeah,
loved your
so
comics so much.
I got to go back and the first scene was in Detroit, and then the next one I went to Chicago, and we filmed the scene on the farm, and that was a few days as well, and got to meet more people, and I mean it's an experience of a lifetime. I remember, because this part of the world, I mean, when you say, yes, I'm going to be in a movie, you're not met with, really? That's such good news. That's so great. It's like, what? What are you doing? What's happening?
What did you do?
It is absolutely not, in our background at all. And it wasn't,
crazy.
I told them, listen, guys, this is not a career move. This is just an experience. It's an experience. It's something that I really love.
Yeah.
And I've had a few of those in recent years where I do sort of the opposite of what people are expecting me to do. But they're experiences that I'll never forget. And like I said, I think when you decide to follow your dreams and you say yes more, you'll be surprised what life sort of presents to you.
Wow.
When you open yourself up to the universe,
Yep.
things happen that you will not expect, but just have that optimism. And you never know what will happen.
My goodness,
Absolutely.
I am so motivated.
I want to go shoot a movie right now.
I am so motivated.
We've been talking about shooting a movie. Let's do it, Ariel.
Ayman, are you a motivational speaker as well? So it's like, Vero, motivational speaker, cameo roles.
Yeah,
This dude is just like,
You're checking off all the boxes, dude.
I'm just so motivated. Like, after we get off with you, let's shoot something. Let's do a movie.
We could redo Green Lantern.
Green
I
Lantern.
mean, you should.
we do it?
You should, for sure. If you have it in you, definitely do it. But no, I mean, look, man, I wish more people knew my dad. I mean, he just brought the best out of people. and that's what I kept seeing every single day. Like you can't have done all the things that he's done without having optimism. And he was an endless optimist. I mean, this is a guy who decided during a civil war in Lebanon to send kids to college on his own dime. And he ended up, I mean, when all was said and done, he ended up sending 30,000 kids to college around the world, in Lebanon, everywhere, for all, no, not one religion or any of this stuff. But he was like, okay, so there's a war. War is going to be over soon. At one point, so you have that optimism. It's not like, oh, this is going to go on forever. People are going to hate each other all the time. Like at some point, you reach a limit, and people are just going to want to live and want to be able to sustain themselves and have a country. And how do you do that if everybody has been recruited by militias? So he was like, you know what? Let's recruit them with the pen. Let's teach them stuff, like, so that they can come back. He gave them no like conditions. It wasn't like, okay, if I send you to college, you have to come back if I tell you. So it's not like The Shadow, or something. This is like I press the button and you have to come back. Nothing like that. It was just purely on like a human level thing. And a lot of them came back, and we built the country. So it's like things like that. You can't teach that. You have to be around it. So
it's kind
that's
of
a real life superhero right there.
Legit.
There you go.
That's a real life superhero.
Can I show you guys something? I mean, I've shown this to a few people. You may have seen it already, but let me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. Go get it.
So this thing. So when my dad, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but my dad was assassinated in 2005, and I was living in the States at the time, and I came back to Lebanon, and we had days and days of, I mean, millions of people come and for the funeral and for the wake, or just passing on their condolences. And we needed to do the same in Saudi, because we lived here for so long and so many people loved it here. So we had to open our home again to people who wanted to come and pay their respects. Right. So I ended up walking into my my room as a kid, like when I was a kid, and so for the longest time I never owned a Superman comic book, and I always connected him to Superman, and I never understood why.
Wow.
Okay,
right.
I never owned a single book of Superman. Every other one, Flash, Spider-Man, Batman, of course, every single one, but I never bought a single book of Superman, because I was like, I can't do it. I'm not there yet. I'm not worthy in that sense.
Wow.
That's insane,
I walk into my kid's room and I look up on the wall, and I have this image of him.
That's dope.
And this is my dad.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So it's my dad as Superman, carrying universities and schools and hospitals above the rubble of Lebanon. So this says Lebanon. I don't know if the camera switched or not, but this says
it's
Super
clear.
Hariri.
Yeah. And also see your family crest. Yes.
Well, yeah, family crest. Yeah, they needed to right there. And these are schools and everything. And I was like, okay, I mean, the power of art, how it can affect you, and you have no idea,
right?
Like none. And just in that moment, it connected so many dots. I called up Metropolis Comics, and I was like, okay, I need every single
Metropolis
Superman
Comics, man.
book.
That's in New York?
You guys can
get a hold of. New York.
I need every single Superman book you can get a hold of.
And the guy's like, I guess, man, you buying the whole store.
Ayman, two things. Number one, again, what a deep, like everything you just said. Like I'm just sitting here and I'm just like contemplating like my own life. I'm just like, what can I do to leave a legacy? Yeah. Because that's basically what your dad did. Like he left his like, and not only that, he left it through like you and the rest of your family, because he still lives on through you guys. So it's like, and the fact that the way you talk about him and the way you're so optimistic and positive, and now you're kind of spreading that like to us. It's like, hey, like I know the world is like this, but it's not always like this. Like you got to keep going looking deeper and seeing that there are still people that are still trying to do the right thing. There are people that are trying to do good in this world. But the thing is, you know what it is, and it's like we talked about earlier. Social media, the media, they don't show this stuff. They just always show us the shit that's going on in the world. So it's like when you're constantly just seeing that, sometimes you're just like, oh my God, like this is too much. But they don't show you like, oh hey, there's still people that are doing this. There's people that are doing this that are trying to combat that fear and that anger and that hatred. You know, so that to me is very, very again motivational, bringing me optimism. And the second thing I wanted to bring up was I actually went on the Metropolis Comics website.
Yeah.
And the very first thing was issue number 1 of Batman. Can any of you take a guess how much it was going for?
Well, Price is Right. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, I'm just gonna
All right.
Wait, is it in the thousands or the millions?
Thousands.
in the thousands.
Oh,
All right,
50K.
500,000.
50K.
How much, Ryan?
500,000?
Mark?
I'm
like
just, I
that's
don't
too
know, like
much.
10K. I don't know.
Eamon, you probably know. You probably know.
I'll leave it to you to say.
Yeah, he doesn't gamble.
Are we talking about now? Are we talking about then? Or are we talking about what?
So I
what grade is it?
I went on 2 days ago. The first Batman comic is going for $800,000.
Brian wins.
Whoa. I was close.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're close.
But like
I was-
700. That's crazy.
Because so shout out to Comic Book Debate because you were on that podcast. So I was watching them. Those guys are great. And you had mentioned Metropolis Comics, and then I went on because I was like, because you had said you had bought like a bunch of their. I'm like, he bought a bunch of their comics, and the first I'm like, let me see if I could buy a little bit of history. Yeah, I have I can't.
Prices were different. Prices were different when I started.
He's like,
You
well,
know,
now there's
luckily-
inflation, and
For real. 800K, dude. That's
it's a lot. That's a lot for a comic book for sure.
Oh,
But I think it's what these characters represent. I don't think it's as much as the art or this or that, or I don't think people do it as an investment either. I think it's more
meaning.
driven by passion and personal passion and what these characters mean to us.
yeah.
And listen, man, I mean, in terms of legacy that you're talking about, people think about, when they hear about my dad's story, for example, it can be a little bit, sort of daunting of saying, okay, but how do you do that? How do you leave something like that? And I swear it starts with just helping one person. That's it. That's all you have to think about. Just help people around you. Just do something unexpected.
Yes.
Sometimes unexpected is as little as a thank you to somebody who's not expecting it or is having a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's it.
That
That's all it takes.
You know what that reminds me of, because we're going, or at least a couple of us have been going through the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah. For
And-
Batman.
And in Batman Begins, where Gordon comforts him as a kid, and then at the end, I'm assuming you've watched the Nolan trilogy, right? Imagine I just spoiled it
He
for
just
him.
spoils it.
He's like,
What is it?
whoa.
Hang on, wait a second. Let me get my notes.
Nolan?
To-do list.
He's like, Nolan.
That guy from Tenet.
The guy from Tenet. But so and then at the end when Gordon goes to him, he's like, I never cared for who you are, but don't you want to know? Don't you want the people to know who saved the whole city? And he's like, a hero can be anyone. Like, it's as simple as putting a coat over a young boy's head and shoulders and letting him know that the world isn't over. And I'm like, damn.
I got goosebumps when you just said it, because I just watched it last night, and that whole culminating last 10 minutes just brought tears to my eyes because of how impactful one man can be to so many different people. And he even passed the torch in a sense. And Ayman, would you consider that also a way of helping in terms as well, like passing the torch, like teaching what you know, and just having people or your colleagues or anyone who works with you to just continue in their path to leave a legacy as well? Do you think that passing the torch is something that is necessary, or is something that just comes with what you do?
I mean, for me personally, I the way I think is, if you're somebody who's aware, you have a responsibility to pass on, Like if you're self-aware, if you're aware of the world, you're aware of issues in the world, and that things need to be better. There's nothing wrong with being somebody who isn't aware. But if you are, then you need to do something. Yeah, you need to pass it on. But it isn't passing it on like it's in some sort of a scroll, and
Right.
you want to, write it out and let people know in that way. I think the most powerful is when you do things, when you lead by example. Now, I've got kids, and they're into superheroes as well, and of course they're into superheroes if I'm into superheroes. My daughter not so much, but but she enjoys
trying.
seeing
He's like,
me
please,
do that.
he's like, look
He's
at this. This is good. This is cinema.
Exactly. No, but I mean, it's I because of her brothers, she's like, okay, enough.
Right.
I get it,
Right.
Overwhelming.
but enough.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that there are female superheroes that are what superhero movies like Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and but I think ultimately you don't want it to get stuck as mythology or stories. You also want to do things in front of them and make sure that that there's an understanding of the why. It isn't just doing things for the sake of doing them. There's a lot of stuff that happens today, and I think social media doesn't help in this, in that people have gotten into the habit of doing things to show it off, versus doing things for understanding the implications of what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And that be the number one reason. Like, for example, like what I'm telling you about my dad, nobody knew until after he had passed.
Oh, wow.
Like they didn't know the extent. They knew that he helped people. They had no idea of a number. There was no website that talked about the number.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the number. He'd be uncomfortable with me talking about the number. Like that's sort of to the point of I'm saying uncomfortable. I'd probably get a few words about it. That's just how.
Yeah.
That's how we grew up. That's how things used to be. Whereas now, people can't have a meal without sharing it, and not for the reasons of, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of stuff that we have to be careful how technology is used and what it's driving us to do versus who's in the driver's seat,
Right.
Who's in the driver's seat in this
Absolutely.
stuff. And technology does extremely well when we press the button and something happens that we are in control of. It's not so good when we're on the receiving end and we're completely unaware of what's going on.
So I will not
I
be.
think.
Go ahead, Mark.
Sorry, what? Okay. So I think we talk about this a lot, or we've mentioned it a few times. But like Kevin Hart, like I know he said it's. I think also social media like comes to, or it adds to like this negativity. Like it's like negativity is cool now. It's not cool to be positive. And at least in our generation, it is. It's like that, unfortunately. Where optimism is something where it's looked at as if it's almost like a synonym for naive. It's like
Sure.
which is just like I don't think that's a good way to like look at it. I think we need to like start looking. It's like totally different now. It's like they've always been different. They're not even close to being the same thing. Like I think with social media, especially with the past week we just had here in the States, it's like it's such an important tool to like use in a positive like sense, especially when you have a lot of power, and again, going back to the Spider-Man thing, with great power comes great responsibility. You need to take this into consideration whenever, even if you're like liking something or it seems like so minimal, like favoriting a tweet or retweeting something, yada, yada, yada. Like, you want to just make sure you're, doing something to like, push the positivity forward, into the forefront, So I think all this is like awesome.
Sure.
Mark, man.
Yeah, they're,
these guys just spitting.
yeah, there needs
facts.
to be more optimism. There needs to be more optimism. There needs to be, sort of less judgment as well.
Yes.
I think people forget that the whole human condition is that we're flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
We make mistakes. We are made to make mistakes. Otherwise, what is it?
we
What are
wouldn't
we?
learn.
What is it
Yeah.
all worth?
We
Yeah.
wanna
What's there to
learn.
learn?
Are we all perfect? Are we supposed to be perfect? Are we supposed to be without, any flaws that, like you said, that we learn from? And if you get it in your head that you judge other people by their mistakes, then I don't know, like you've got it backwards. And if anything, any tech or any mob or whatever is pushing that idea, you've got there's going to be a correction. There has to be, because I have to say to myself, everybody has to say to themselves that don't judge somebody else. Just they are who they are. And I'm not talking about having a difference of opinion. I just mean, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of, whether it's looking at somebody and saying, oh, this or that, or judging any kind of their actions or how they do things or anything. And I think when you start to build that in and that acceptance of everybody else, you start to realize how comfortable you are with the decisions you've made, because usually judging somebody else has to do with some feeling of
Insecurity.
Insecurity.
dissatisfaction with your own life.
Yeah.
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 And if you're so hell-bent on your opinion having to be put on somebody else, I question how much you are truly convinced of whatever it is, the subject.
It's actually funny because today I was
Never judge anyone again in my life.
looking at Instagram and I saw I was looking at Ray Allen's story, the basketball player, and he posted like a DMs that he got from like these obviously clearly fake accounts, like where they have no profile picture, no followers, no post. So it's like obviously a fake account made for this type of thing where they're saying, racial stuff and, all this negativity. It's like, and then I thought to myself this morning, I was like, I'm so happy that I've never woke up and been like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a fake account and I'm going to go and DM these people, this, that, and that. It's like, I've never even thought about it. It's not even like a thing. And
Never crossed my mind.
Because we're, more secure with who we are and happy in our own lives and stuff.
Mark, are you judging people?
And I'm not. I'm saying that for those people, I feel like they are, like you were just saying, unhappy and maybe just, with something in their lives or whatever, they're going through something. And it's like, it's so crazy that like just the amount of difference in thought for me, and then looking at somebody who do something like that, I'm like, wow, like that's nuts. It's really insane. So it's funny that we're talking about this now, because I was really just thinking about it today. Like, wow, it's nuts.
That's why you got to ignore all those negative comments. Like we get negative comments all the time, right? And it's so hard to just like
ignore it. It's like
get to you.
It's like
it is, man. It's human. It's human to feel something. I mean, that's how we're built as well. It doesn't make sense to be completely, detached from it all. But that's why I keep referring to the real world social network. Yeah. This real world social network. I've always said, like, I mean, we came out of caves, guys. Caves. I see people like,
insane.
when they have a kid and everything is like, oh my God, don't let the kid touch the thing above. I'm like, obviously you need to, there's a level that you have to follow. Science has progressed. Yeah. We have knowledge. But remember, we were in caves. the amount of dirt that we consumed and, all of that.
We still have an appendix. We still have an appendix.
Exactly. No, but with that in mind, how did we get on a Zoom call from caves? Like, how did that progress happen? It didn't happen with us all being singular in our corner, not sharing anything with each other, not supporting each other. It's actually a result of the real world social network, the network that thing that we create around us because we're social creatures. We need each other. And so if you have a support system, friends, a social network, and you have negativity come your way, you are more immune to it. And that's the thing. It's like, don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to talk to people that are in your lives and that they're helping you through anything. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying. That's what myself, the team, everybody believes in Vero, and what we're trying to just remind people that technology is not the solution. It should be a means to make something better.
It's a catalyst to.
It's a catalyst.
Yeah.
If we didn't want to talk to each other, then what the hell do we need chat apps for?
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, right? Why are chat apps work? Chat apps are well, why?
Yeah.
Is it something about chat apps?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
right?
true.
Because we want to talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Wow. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get to talking about Vero, because obviously you're the CEO and co-founder of Vero. And we'll get into that. But Stephen A. Smith, please take us to commercial.
And we are rolling once again. Welcome back, everyone. We are still joined, thankfully, by Ayman.
Ayman, so we're going to start breaking down. You had said something earlier, right? That it's more about showing nowadays than sharing with social media. And I was gonna say, because you were like, oh, now every people post about their, what they're eating, and I'm like, whoa, now I'm never sharing what I'm eating on Vero, because the CEO just told me, like,
don't share it. It should be a ban. It should be a ban.
No, it's not it's not a judgment. It's just it's like because I see people, and I've heard these stories, and it's really, I hope I don't wish this on anybody, but it's like they don't actually eat it. It's not the meal that they're eating.
Exactly. It's true. You're eating it for the look.
Stuff like that.
You're at a restaurant, you're like, can I take a picture of that?
Why are you, share that you're enjoying something. That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't share it.
Sure, just to get attention. Yeah. And that's a lot of people at parties, and, there's always that thing too, where they're acting like they're having a good time, but it's only for the video. And as soon as the camera goes down, no one's really having a good time.
It's just a boring party.
And you see it. You see it all the time.
That's true.
And usually, if you're having a good time, you're not thinking about showing it off to other people. You're just there in the moment, enjoying it. And that's how you know you're having a good time.
Absolutely.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And
it was those were one of the first conversations I had with my cousin and my best friend, because we would be at these dinners, and then we would see what would show up online.
Yeah.
And you were like, that's not what happened. What is that about?
Right.
What's going on?
You just exposed them like, nah, you weren't doing that, bro.
What is it about?
I was there.
Exactly. What is it about that software and that service that's making you act like that? And if we were in private, so that's why we came up with the whole thing of like having these private loops that you can put people in, because I think psychologically it's like a release valve of some sort. It's like a psychological release valve. Because, Beyonce is Beyonce, right? But she can't be Beyonce all the time. Like you can't be these people that you are up on stage all the time.
Right.
Yeah. And even artists create these personas that live on stage and that stay on stage, and that the rest of the time can be themselves.
I believe
just so that they can be normal,
Yeah. No, well, I don't think he's saying like that when Beyonce goes up on stage and like tells the fans that like she loves them and things like that she's faking it. He just means like she has her moments, her bad days.
Oh yeah, well she's human.
Like
yeah, she's human.
She's a human being.
Yeah,
like there's gonna be days where she's frustrated.
Right,
Like, oh my God, Jay-Z, like changed the diaper.
She's actually shy.
Like,
come
on. I don't care how many fingers you make.
A lot of music artists are actually shy. You know,
a lot of them are introverted.
You know, to be able to do what they do. But if they have to live in the spotlight all the time, it can be really taxing for them.
Right.
And so they have to have a private life. They have to be able to just, you know, be themselves with their families and their best friends and the people that are around them. So online, it was public all the time. And that leads to something. It leads you to think like, I'm on a stage. I need to, perform at all times. And I don't think that people are wired that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they have to be able to be themselves with the people that.
Yeah, it's sort of weird that you mentioned that in terms of like, it's all in here in a sense, because I think you're right. I think because, we all first started off pretty much MySpace? That was the first.
The first social media website.
Remember that?
Yeah, MySpace was my first social media website.
Mine was Facebook.
Right, and then there was Facebook, and then Twitter, Instagram, right? But you start to see a trend with all of these, and it's that you go to any comment section, and what we discussed before, negativity, and like you said, people just sharing things to share it, but they're not just enjoying the moment or things like that, but. With Vero, I kind of I feel different about it than I do with like the other apps, and I don't know if it's because of just the community that's there. Because I rarely, if I ever, see negativity on the Vero app, because I feel like it's just the DC community those are mostly the people that I follow, right? And so it's like. What is there to argue about? We all like the same things, but at the same time, it's not even that. It's just uplifting. Like they like to uplift other the amount of people, the other content creators that comment on our stuff and promote our stuff. I'm just like,
thank you.
I need to actually start doing more for them too. Like, hey, check these people out. Like they're dope. And it's the same thing with like the musicians on because I just saw there's like a skateboarding category now, like on Vero. I'm like. Oh my God! Like,
I never like, even knew that was a thing.
And I love how there's like a dedicated thing, like to each, and it's like music, and now I like the whole podcast thing. I hear is growing more now as well. So it's like talk to us about that. Like what sort of transpired? What inspired you and your team to start revolving and building around these different things?
Well, it has to do with like what do we like to share in discussion? I think you just think about the smallest examples and conversations that people have between each other at dinners or at get-togethers. Hey, did you see this movie? Hey, did you read that book?
Yep.
Hey, have you heard that song?
Yep.
Why do we do that? I mean, what is it? What do we get out of it? We're not getting paid.
Yeah, we're getting shared experience because that's
shared experience, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Because something that resonates deeply with me when I met these guys is just, they're cool. Actually, when I first met,
well, they're all right.
Nah, but again, shared experience. So when I first met Junior, I found out he was a Laker fan. That's how we connected. Because we were watching a game on TV at a friend's house, and I go, put the Laker game on. And then he was like, oh, you're a Laker fan too? I was like, oh, lit. Like, how are you? It's great. And then
find common ground.
And then you find this commonality with everyone that really kind of tethers your friendship. And I think that's the best part about Vero is that as a creative myself, making an account because everyone was telling me, dude, make a Vero account, make it. And I just go, okay, right, fine. I have content that I can put on there and I'm building up to that. But for the first time, again, I don't want to badmouth any of the other apps, but I am. Instagram doesn't do that for me. Twitter doesn't do that for me. I feel Vero it seems like almost like a safe space for a creative that I can go there. I was talking to Karan a while ago and I told him that Vero feels almost like an artist's journal. Like, this is the film I like that inspired me. This is the project I'm working on. This is the song that inspired me. This is I like how seamless it is to get that information out there. and it truly feels welcoming. That's what I like about it the most. It's so welcoming and easy to use. It's almost like an iPhone. Sorry, Mark.
No, I can't. I can't tell you how much what that means to me, and I know how much it'll mean to the team hearing you say that, because it's the thing that we spent a long time doing. I mean, we spent 1.5 years designing,
right,
all the way at the beginning.
That feels,
you know, I mean, it wasn't like, okay, we're putting an app out. How long? What are the milestones? What are we gonna, and this and that. It was just finding all the databases that allowed us to share music and places and the way we wanted it to work, the way we wanted it to make it easy. It took a while. It took many conversations. The stuff wasn't like, I don't want to say it wasn't readily available. It was readily available, but nobody was doing or trying to do what we were doing. So it was hard to find everything in a seamless way. But the whole thing about the positivity is, I think it's sort of the default behavior, unless somebody's taught otherwise.
Exactly.
So if you're going to say something snarky, and all of a sudden, because something has been programmed to take that and put that in front of a lot of people, and you're going to get a bunch of, let's say positive reinforcement, let's call it whatever it is, the reaction of this or that or whatever it is.
Enabling.
Then you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just like a bully in school. If anybody goes, haha, that was so good, that was so cool, you were so cool, then they're going to do it again.
Right. Yeah. It's conditioning. It's conditioning.
It's conditioning. Yep. Of course it is. And at a large scale, with AI behind it.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Algorithm.
That's dangerous. The algorithm, Neil.
The algorithm.
But that's the thing, like with Twitter and Instagram, sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions, like I'm just clicking on these people's stories, but I'm not caring. I'm just like, okay. I just want the little bubble to go away, so I can just for my OCD to just be clear.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But on this, like, but now let's say on Vero, right? Someone posts like a movie.
You just described exactly why we're not doing stories.
Thank you. That's another thing. I said, all right, so
but everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I know they are, but everybody else's metrics of success are
that's the good
strange.
part. You're not doing it because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. No, but you're right. That's what I hear. I hear that quite often.
Right.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, a thing that's been built with a skip button.
Right.
Yeah, why would you want somebody to skip a feature on your app?
What is the...
Exactly. It's accessible.
No, exactly.
And then you can...
Totally. It reminds me of the ads on YouTube.
Oh my God, those are getting so frustrated. Especially when I'm in the shower. When I'm in the shower trying to listen to a reviewer on
Liberty
YouTube.
Mutual.
I'm like, and then it'll be two of them, right? The first one's short, and then the second one is 3 minutes long. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to end my shower short now.
No, dude, get premium. Get premium.
Yeah, get premium, bro. Join the team.
Fine.
But Ayman, I really also appreciate the absence. This app is bereft of ads.
Yeah.
I love it because I'm scrolling. Everything is linear. Everything is chronological. Everything happens as it happens in real life.
Or it's already happened.
Well, that too.
Right.
But in a sense, I like how our page can post something and I immediately after post something and it doesn't get juggled or mixed up or something. It's almost like they took social media and just hit at least social media posts or sharing and just hit shuffle on it for some reason.
Yeah.
Because they think it'll be more engaging or something, and it's really not, because you end up, because the way the algorithm works, at least to my understanding, is that the app almost rewards those who use it the most instead of just showing everyone who's using it.
Casual users.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
it also makes people use that advertising function more, promoting your post so that it shows up. Yeah, pay to promote. And I think that's also why they have that algorithm and that shuffling, because it's like, my post isn't getting attention anymore. What can I do? An easy way out is to pay $30 every post, and you're you'll get bumped up to the top. And what, for like a couple hundred likes more? Like it's
not worth it at all. It's not worth it at all.
No, it's not. And it's, it is a bit, it is saddening to sort of see how things have been designed in such a way, what the behavior that's being tried to be promoted. It's not the content. Like I don't have, if you've got something to say and you want to promote it on an app that, that gives you that ability, that's fine. But it's everything else that's going on that pushes you to want to feel like you need to promote it. And what that's that reinforcement, that behavior reinforcement that I have a problem with. Yeah, I mean, look, we just did the chronological feed because that's what made sense to us.
It's what makes sense in general. It's
simple.
Just like,
it's
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, can you imagine if your email came in?
Not chronological.
Right? I mean,
you get an email that was sent to you 3 weeks ago.
You got an email from your doctor about like your records, like, hey, by the way.
Oh, right. I missed that
I have
one.
COVID. That was 3 weeks ago. Oh,
damn. or you get an ad like, we seen you had COVID. Try this.
Right.
That just gives you an email for something else.
It's like a promotion for the vaccine.
Yeah, like what is this?
No, it's an attention economy, guys, and that's the part that we don't want to play a part in. And look, not putting ads in the platform makes our lives a lot harder in one sense. Like if I wanted to go and get funding and wanted, to reach certain goals that other people can reach much more easily by providing a freemium version and this and that and the other. I mean, it would make our lives a lot easier. I can tell you that. Yeah. This path that we've chosen is like making something really hard, much, much harder. But we also think that the payoff for people and society will be much greater as well. Because at one point we were building something like I was talking about, like with superheroes. Where did it start and what did it become? Yeah. And what it started was us going, why are our friends acting this way? What's going on? We need to build something, can we build something better? And we started building it. But then after a while, we started realizing the importance of what we're building. We feel like we're building a life raft, like based on everything else, that everything else is just not sustainable. We're seeing what's going on. Unfortunately, it's kind of the tip of the iceberg, what's going on right now. I know that sounds...
Yeah. No, I know. Deeper, darker. No, I know.
You're absolutely right.
We can go there too, right. But it's fine.
But it's, but somebody needs to build a life raft. Everybody else is complaining, but we feel like we're one of the few companies that is actually doing something about it. We don't have all the answers. We're not saying what we're doing is the right thing. It's the perfect thing. And there's nothing better.
It's a hell of an example, though.
Right. I can't even think like that. It's
different, though. It's unique.
It's an example.
Something.
It's an example, and it's something that I greatly appreciate. Go ahead, Mark. I got you.
Like one more like unique thing that I just loved about that's just stuck with me this entire time when I made my Vero account, I was just exploring it. Like when I go on like the Explore tab, like the Get Inspired portion of it, where it's like it's literally just like mentor Black business, where it's like and other things like that. You have things that inspire people to like not like to find something they're passionate about, and it inspires them to get off their phone, like, and say, hey, like this is something you can do. Go do it. Or you can go here and learn more. Like it inspires you to like again. Like with what we were talking about with the like the positivity again. I know I keep harping on this, but like it's just so important, and like this is really just like awesome. Like, and you just don't see any negativity. You don't see anything like even meme accounts. It's amazing. You just don't see them. Like it's like
I mean, look, they're there. We're an open network right now.
Right.
We haven't turned on subscription. I think when we do that, it'll be set up even more to fend off things that we don't want. But at the same time, I think it's because So everybody says, oh, it's because you have no algorithms. It's not only that, it's that even if we were to put something in that will bubble things up for you or for you to explore or something, the way we're coming about this is to be very careful about every ingredient we put into the mix.
Right.
And you should be aware of what's going on. Why are we showing you something? If we say, hey, give us access to your address book, then the list that you're going to see is based on that. And we go, okay, if you found me, if you have my number in your address book and I'm on there and you see me in that list, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. You're in control.
Yeah, I see.
Right?
Yeah.
But the stuff we're seeing these days, we don't even know why we're seeing it, or we're not in control of it. You happen to search for something, all of a sudden your entire experience is based off of that search.
Yeah.
Or you happen to press play on some clickbait.
And all of a sudden,
right, exactly. Or that. Yeah, that's the other one. You know.
Don't get me started.
So the two questions on that one are they listening? Because if they are, that's terrible. Or do they know? How do they know without listening?
Yeah.
You know, that's the other one.
I'm gonna go on Instagram. Is gonna be an ad for Vero.
I don't know what she's worth.
Like the first thing when I go on Instagram now is gonna be like, oh, Vero, you should get it. It's like, I already have it. Get away from me, ad.
Get away.
But no, like, and you know what I love, the upgrade, the 2.0, Vero 2.0 that just released. It like I was on it for like probably like an hour just playing around with like the new things. I was like, ooh, like games. I don't game, but games, books, like places, apps, like even apps, like top free.
Cool.
Like look how like this is pretty baller, right? Like another app, just like, oh, here are the top free apps in the market right now that you can get, you know? And like Instagram's here, YouTube's here, Spotify's here, Venmo.
It doesn't become like an like advertisement.
It's not toxic, right?
Yeah, it's not
toxic.
advertisement. It's more resourceful. Like I feel like Vero is very resourceful in that sense.
And look, top paid apps, Turbo Scan, PDF Scanner. I may need that one day. So thank you, Vero.
It's all about being useful, totally.
Exactly, being resourceful. And I really appreciate that about the app as well, because I got stuck the other day because I go, wow, this is how I feel about this film. And I'm just like, well, this app is so beautiful. And I just kept like, I just got lost. I went into the rabbit hole. I saw that
when you made your account, he was like posting everything.
Yeah, like I just got lost in it, and I love it because not that my opinion is something that I didn't want to share on another app, but I just didn't think that was the space for it. I didn't think that a film review of mine, at least, had a space in Instagram, because that's what I used to do originally. With these guys, is that when I first got on the team I was just like, let me just do film reviews for you guys. And that's what I would do. But then I just feel like it wasn't the place for that. And I just found that place now in Vero, because now it's almost like I said, it's like a journal. So I have these 10 films that I enjoy and love. And then I can revert back to them if I want to be inspired about something. And the app just makes it that seamless. It's just,
that's awesome.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, now you notice on 2.0 that you can find all the other people on Vero that have shared the same movie.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Well. Yeah, it's so simple. It's very seamless, because I remember tapping on someone's post who reviews. I think it was Garan. He reviewed a film, and then you get to see who, like, how many other 100 or 1,000 people also did the same thing, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. It's like IMDb on crack.
No, that's good.
It is. Because look, it also gives like the genre, the release, right? The director, the synopsis, the cast,
awesome.
And then other recommendations from that movie. So it's like, right.
It's also just visually pleasing.
That's also what it is too.
Yeah.
It has there's a very futuristic approach to it.
Very.
That is inviting and doesn't feel like you need like a manual or a walkthrough on how to navigate the app. Because Instagram, they'll give you an update, and again, I'm bad mouthing Instagram, whatever, dude. They give you an update, and then they move the buttons around, and then now again, because we're
like the whole shopping cart bullshit.
Because we're so used to pressing the like button to see who liked our post. Now we have to go shopping. We're conditioned now. Oh,
they're not. They think they're like low by doing that. It's really obvious. They did that on purpose. Like,
It's like buy the products here on Instagram.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we think of design as us communicating with our users in a way about what we think is important or what we think a social app should be. And actually before, there's a version, a 2.0 version, where we had calls kind of hidden in chat, where it didn't have its own tab, it didn't have its own button.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to put it at the bottom because we're like, look, people like to talk to each other. Like, talk to each other.
Oh, they have that now. The calls. We called Karang
Actually,
on that
I've spoken to Karang, and it again, if there's one app that I can, because I wouldn't compare it to WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very buggy when it comes to that. But like FaceTime audio, it's just as seamless. It's just like Karang is right here speaking to me.
Yeah.
Or whoever I'm speaking to. Like it's really dope. And I don't know the science behind that, how you did that, but keep it up.
No, we've got excellent partners on that stuff, and again, we take our time, dude. We were ready with calls in 2018. Wow. Like when we had like the big rush of people, we were about to release calls, and then like we weren't happy with some decisions our partners made on that, so we just put it on pause. We just put it on hold.
That's
we just
amazing.
decided we're not going to go. We're not going to move forward.
I'm glad you had the integrity to stay on and keep working on it, because I think that's why we have the product we have now, because you were patient with his execution.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to rush something that can really turn out to be a great thing.
Yeah.
So
especially just because like people want it, like you don't want to give them something premature.
AKA cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
I mean, that stuff's hard, right? That stuff is really, it's obviously they took a long time, but just doing stuff on multi-platform like that's really difficult.
Because people don't understand what developers go through and coders and stuff when it comes to that, because there's a term called crunching that people aren't familiar with in the industry, and that is a lot of stress. That's a lot of pressure for people who are passionate about doing this, but all of a sudden now you want to rush them because the consumer wants it right now. And I don't think that's how products work. I don't think that's how creatives should work at all. You should work at your own pace and release something when it's ready.
But businesses have a limitation, man. That's the thing. It's like, I'm in a fortunate position where I'm able to support the business, myself. I'm the one investing in it, and I know that anybody else would not give it the time that I've given it.
Right. It's your baby.
This is your passion project. I hope. I mean, I'm assuming it is. I don't know if
it
you have
is,
other.
right?
Oh, okay, right.
No, I mean, it's my. Yeah, what are you talking about? No,
what is this? It's just an app.
It is. It's just an app. It is, absolutely. It's the thing I dream about. It's the thing I think about night and day. And I don't think you can do anything this big sort of part-time. I think you gotta give it all you got.
Right.
It can't just be like so what happened this quarter and that's it. I don't think for something this important you can just
this
put it through a process. I think you need to.
This is truly refreshing.
Yeah. No, man, you need to. It's this stuff that we're doing it has impact. We had an intuition that it was. We've been designing based on intuition. We've been building based on intuition.
Yeah.
We have sessions. We do sit down. We document everything. We write things down, etc. Because we have so many ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's got to be a feeling. We tell people. I mean, even our engineers, and they are extremely understanding. Thank God of the process that we go through, because we design something. It looks good, and then we're like, okay, let's make it. Then we make it. Then we have it, and we're like,
back to the drawing board.
Something right, and we've built a culture where it's not just okay, we're building this, we're making it, we're putting it out the door no matter what, because we want to get it right. We care. I mean, literally everybody cares.
See, that's
if I went into the company tomorrow and said, oh, guess what, guys, we need to do ads, I think
everyone will be like,
I think every single person would leave.
They'd be like, what was the whole point of this again?
I'm gonna head out.
Pretty much. I mean, it would just be a countdown. Like everybody would be nodding their heads,
like 10,
going, okay,
9, 8.
But no, it goes in turn with like, just working on your craft. Imagine the likes of Kobe or Jordan were like, no, I'm not gonna get that second workout in. No, that didn't even go through their mind. Yeah. It's like a second, third, fourth. Like, oh, I didn't make the 100 shots I wanted to make. Do it again.
It becomes
but they're not doing it. They're not doing it to torture themselves. Like, because they love it. No. Like, they love working on it. They're like, I'm gonna get 100. I'm gonna get 100 because I want to get 100.
Exactly.
So it's just, that's what it is with anything. And like, I mean, sports analogies are the greatest because those are like physical traits that like can be worked on. But things like this, like what you're talking about, things like a podcast, like everything, if you don't work on the craft, it's not going to come out the way you want it.
Yep.
And it's that simple with anything.
Dude, 100%. 100%.
Yep.
You guys know Mark Twight?
Yeah.
You guys heard of Twight? So he was the founder of Jim Jones. And, his whole thing was, and still is that, physical, the sort of the physical challenge, the challenge that doing a workout, etc., is the perfect sort of level setter, not only between you and somebody else, but you and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the whole thing for him isn't training the muscle, making big muscles. Yes, there's a physical look or capability that you need to work towards. But the whole point is like what's happening up here.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mamba mentality.
How do you cut all the spaghetti away and just untangle
Literally,
your
too many
brain
carbs.
from all the things that you've taught yourself, all of the limitations you've built that become excuses that you can't do this and that. But more importantly, it isn't about how that manifests itself in the gym and stays in the gym. More importantly, how does it manifest itself outside of the gym? How does it teach you how you have to stop making excuses for yourself? Why and what, and feeling sorry for yourself, why you can't do something, and no, I'm not going to do this today, and that's too hard, and I don't know what. All of that stuff, I think you're absolutely right. Sports is a great way because we can see the result of it.
Exactly.
We can see the result of it in our bodies and our capability and our results, And I'm a big believer in that. I mean, the stuff I've been able to get through thanks to his teachings, I mean, I can't tell you.
Please tell us.
Putting him into practice with John has been amazing. Say what?
No, I said, please tell us. No, but Ayman, something like speaking on ads, like Junior brought up. I don't know if it was something that was in the inception of Vero, where that was that an option? Was that something that you looked at, or was that something that always in the forefront was just no ads? This is what we're doing. This is how we want to build it.
Yeah. So look, did we think that? Did we connect like ads and attention economy and things like this? We weren't thinking like that.
Mm-hmm.
So every company that starts up, when they ask them, what's the business model? It's usually, we'll figure that out later. Let's just get the users. We'll figure that out later. I could not say that. I couldn't see myself saying that. I couldn't.
That's incredible.
Say we'll figure it out later.
That's incredible, man.
And the best business model that I felt where user and us, we were in a partnership, was subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those guys who actually paid for WhatsApp.
Yeah, when it was like 99 cents.
I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 99 cents. I think you're right. It was either $1.99 or 99 cents.
Yeah.
I think it was $1.99. You couldn't download the app
without paying for it.
Yeah, you couldn't download it. It wasn't like download it, try it out. None of that. It was like, hey,
pay
for it.
It's a
paywall
free trial.
Yeah.
And I remember that they wanted to roll out, like while we were building Vero, they announced that they were going to do $199 a year after a year free. Okay, for every new account, not for existing accounts. Right. Existing accounts keep, like, I still have access to WhatsApp because I paid to download the app.
Wait, I think that's why I do too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's why I do too.
But now, you know, so obviously they never got to do that because they were bought up and they never got to roll that out.
Yeah, we know the rest.
But I looked at it as a sign of, like, okay, that's a good model. Like, you're talking about people who really knew what they were doing. When they were bought, I think they had like 800 million active users a day.
Wow.
Just imagine how many billion messages.
I mean, every time I talk to family in Peru or Brazil, what am I using? WhatsApp. So I can only imagine, like, everyone else in the world that's using that app to communicate with loved ones and others across the world. So
especially right now.
Yeah. So I can't say that we knew back then what the effect of the algorithmic, you know, sort of system and ads was going to be. But we just felt that it would be dishonest to say we'll figure it out only to do ads later. And it would be a much better and different, not different for the sake of different, but different in a good way, to just be honest and just say, listen, we're going to do subscription. We haven't decided how much we're going to charge. We want to charge very little. This isn't about, like, charging an arm and a leg. It's about, like, making it sustainable and making it just simple. Like, why can't we make it simple? What business model works where we figure it out later? Like, you know, and what are the repercussions of that? We're seeing that now.
Integrity. You know? The repercussions are you lose the integrity in what your intention was, because something that is really important to me when it comes to creativity or anything I like or I'm involved in is what's the intention behind it. Because I think that's what resonates more with people. Because if your intention is to create this space where people are away from the algorithm, where people are away from what's conditioning and what's toxic for a social experience, then I'm all in. Like, I don't even want any other app at this point, to be honest. Because again, I'm speaking to you and you literally just explained your intention to us. And I think that kind of transparency is what goes a long way, especially with the user. So I don't know what you plan on charging, but I'm already signed up. So
no, so here's the thing. We're not going to charge you anything because you're already a user.
Oh, what?
So anybody who gets Vero between now and when we start to charge will get it free for life.
Oh, wow.
You guys are helping us build this thing.
Oh my god.
We're not going to charge.
And we'll continue to help.
Yeah,
and you know amazing. You know who else is going to continue helping? The whole Zack Snyder fandom. Like,
they're all in.
Like, but think about it like this. Like, Vero, you guys had a watch party for Man of Steel where he announced the Snyder Cut release. That's insane.
Oh, by the way, when I watched that stream, it was very nice. I liked how clear it was. I liked the consistency.
And there was like no lag.
There wasn't any lag at all,
if any. And like I heard the announcement. I saw the announcement. I screamed at the top of my lungs.
Yeah,
during
that was a moment. and that's I think that's
we're all in the middle of work and we're all texting each other and calling each other like, oh my god, what's up?
And I'm jealous because Ayman knew prior, and he told nobody because he's selfish.
That's clearly not selfish.
Or you could look at it that I'm a good friend as well.
So how was it when, like, how did you get the news? Were you just like, oh my god, like?
Oh man, I mean, you know, when things like this happen, I can't. The enjoyment happens after. Because you want to do a good job, so there was no time for us to enjoy it at all. Mm-hmm. And actually, I was probably one of the few people who knew what the announcement was going to be. But you know, to me, I had two things going on in my head. It's like, what a privilege What a privilege.
Yeah.
And we need to do a good job.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was basically those two things.
Like
Those
I
two
was just
things
thinking that like you must have had like the pressure of like, okay, we're hosting this, so we got to make sure everything.
But he's also
it was a huge moment in like
in culture,
history, like in like film and culture, and like because like they he got his movie to be made and approved.
Totally.
Like it's insane. It's like unprecedented.
It's really
like,
something that's never
like
really been
ever happened.
Right.
I think the only director that got his cut was like Richard Donner, was it, for Superman 3, I think.
But not to this extent.
Yeah, this is like huge.
Yeah. This is insane. Like I'm speechless because it's like even talking about it's like it was insane. It was like I thought it was gonna happen, and like even watching it, I'm like, oh, he's gonna announce it today. But even like thinking back on it after, I was like, this is history.
No, and selfishly, you know, there's all the, as a fan, like I'm so happy that it's happening.
Yeah.
And it could have happened to a more deserving guy.
But as somebody who knows Zach, he deserves this, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, if anybody deserves it, and Debbie, the amount of work that they put in, and the love that they put in, and the whole team, that they can, see that their baby, their vision, their dream can actually come to life.
Mm-hmm.
It's justice, man. I mean,
wow.
I can't put another word.
Pun intended.
No pun intended. No pun.
It's true, and it goes back.
Pun intended.
It goes back to what you were saying. When you were on set of BVS, like everyone that was there was enjoying themselves, but they were also working on that craft for that movie. And it's like for them, for WB to do it, whatever happened. We know some things that will happen behind the scenes. We don't know the extent of it, but it really is just awesome that they're giving him this opportunity, even if it is his last hurrah and his send off. It's like at least it'll be his send off, his way.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened that led to it. What's important, because again, even the way I look at it is, again, people can make mistakes.
Right.
And at the end of the day, these businesses are run by people, and if whatever reached a judgment that made whatever was made,
mm-hmm.
it's the same judgment that resulted in him being able to do what he's able to do.
That's very true. Yeah.
And maybe somebody asked me like, what's and then something that like a saying that inspires you, and it's actually a proverb from my part of the world, which is never hate anything, never what good comes of it.
Never hate anything.
And in our religion, part of the world, our language, even when somebody passes, we say alhamdulillah, thank God, and
alhamdulillah, yeah.
You say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? That they if somebody was sick and that they're no longer suffering, or you have to say thank God for all things that you have, irrespective of how it feels at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, as painful as the journey was, it actually made what's happening even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because good can come. There's plenty good that can come out of tragedy, regardless. I think, because it can push you forward to maybe achieve certain things that it motivates you to really appreciate the time that you have on this planet, because that's something that a lot of people take for granted.
Totally, man, and we can't have everything go perfectly. I mean, that's not what life's about. Life's about rolling with the punches and figuring out how you handle things in the bad times, more importantly than the good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're judged on, ultimately. And I think, seeing this journey for them, as much as it was painful to see it, throughout the bad times, it's so wonderful to see
mm-hmm.
in the good times now.
Yeah,
and again, coming back selfishly as a fan,
Yes, yes. Right. I think that's the most important thing is, you know, I don't want to use the term retribution. I feel like that's too harsh, but right, like you said, justice. It's just like, you know, what's happened has happened, and we're getting this now, and like you said, you know, just for him, his wife, the rest of his family, you know, they deserve this. And then, like you said, we're supporting him. We're so happy for him and his family, but at the same time, as fans, yeah, we're a little selfish. Yes, we're getting the Snyder cut, like. So totally. I cannot wait. When it comes out in March, well, I know Vero's gonna go crazy with. I know Vero's gonna go crazy now because marketing's about to start.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be
rollout
posting.
Is about to start. Yeah.
And so you're probably gonna be in for a good couple months.
Content.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time, and I can't wait. You know, me, my kids, not, you know, we're like, I can't wait for that to see it.
That's incredible. It's like, you know, how you mentioned earlier, it's a privilege for us too. You know why? Because to me, I believe we're still in the golden age of comic book films. And I think
we're just getting started.
Yeah, or I think we're getting started in a sense, but I don't have a, how would I say, I'm going to be reserving judgment completely when it comes to this because I'm just glad it's happening at this point. Because especially like, what were we 2 years ago or a year and a half ago where we're just, oh, it's a rumor.
Hashtag
release the Snyder Cut and stuff. And then now it's just, oh, okay, it's actually a real thing. It's tangible. It's been manifested. It happened. And dude, I'm just glad. I'm just grateful.
I mean, the nice thing as well, though, you know, kind of coming full circle to what we were saying at the beginning, it happened, and it happened in a positive way.
Exactly.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, and so that's something to be proud of as well. I think, you know, we've been able to bring a positive community together. You know, he's been able to, through his community on Vero and other places, raise $500,000 for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Incredible, dude.
Look at all these things that are happening. It's you know, it's great to see, and it really makes us proud to feel, or makes us feel proud to play any part in this.
And that was a result of the mistakes, right? So
there you go.
We wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And that also proves that intention goes a long way, because when you have someone who actually, you know, it's fruitful. Energy is reciprocated in whatever shape or way or shape or form that you put it out there. So it's like watching a painting. Whoa, that's deep.
Yeah.
Well, it goes. Wow, full circle again. Goes back to art. Art speaks. Art can talk. So yeah, we
it's called a movie.
It's called a movie. It's called a movie, right? It's called film. But Ayman, man, thank you so much for coming on, dropping all your knowledge. If you ever start doubting yourself, take your own word.
Yeah, literally. Like listen back to this podcast.
Because you just gave us so much, or at least myself. I'm sure I speak for everyone, but you know, it's a lot of insight, especially after the week we just had as American citizens, and just the world is still going. You know, we're like, oh, 2020, the sequel. Here we are.
Yeah. Like this is 2020 director's cut,
the ultimate edition. So it's like, you know, we're going through a lot. The world is going through a lot, and we know like the workers, all the workers who are hours and hours trying to figure things out for us with this vaccine and everything. So it's good that you're optimistic, and it's good that you're able, like you said, help one person. Just help one person. That's all you gotta
keep adding on that.
Yeah. Right, and right, because you help one person, that person helps another person, and it spirals that way. That's how it goes.
Men are still good, man. Men
are still good. Yep. Exactly. Snyder Cut is coming. Vero is a great community. God, I'm so excited.
I'm gonna actually go to the app right now because I want my phone back just for that.
But before we leave, is there any? Well, first thing is, I hope
you have a villain.
I hope you have a villain in your mind.
We gave you plenty of time, dude.
Yeah, a villain. So a villain did come to mind. I do have a statue here. Is Magneto actually? Like he's an interesting.
Wow!
So we're seeing double. Brian's Magneto.
Hey, it's okay. I'll give it
Multiverse.
Oh, who said Magneto?
Brian. He's represented by Magneto.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. Okay. Well, maybe it was subliminal. Maybe it came in. But yeah, I do like. It's sort of. I think it's very easy for somebody to, to still, think about humanity in a positive way, but also,
have an
be
edge.
led astray.
Have an edge.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because you were so optimistic all podcast, and Magneto's very like, well, it's a villain. It's a villain.
It's more that how easy it is. It's like there's a small difference.
One bad
that
day
can lead you down the wrong path.
Yep.
One bad day.
And I think, I'll always remain optimistic, and I'll say to you guys, I know what you guys are going through is hard. What the world's going through is hard, but keep your head up.
Yes, sir.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
So, what a bomb, man. That's great. That's great. That's a bar, dude.
Everyone, make sure to tune in to Vero. Vero on the App Store.
Very easy to spell.
Very easy to spell. Very easy to navigate. Especially for creators. If you drop in music, movies, anything, just that is a safe space for you to talk about your feelings. And like you said, it's a journal for creatives, and I hope it continues on for forever.
Yeah,
forever. But Ayman, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You've been great. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Anything else?
Actually, Ayman, nah. I was gonna say Tenet.
Talk about
that needs a whole episode by itself. Yeah.
Ayman, is there anything else you would like to plug in?
Yeah, anything you wanna,
No, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. I love conversations like this. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and yeah, like I said, just stay positive. It works. It'll have an effect on the people around you, and it's good to see you guys are feeling well, even though some of you had corona. And I hope everybody's families are fine, and yeah, I think we're turning a corner. So.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take care. See y'all next week.
Peace. Chillin' with